Hi guys, another vlog for the Daily Rut, and I'm Leo. So I wanted to start doing things in these vlogs because it's just kind of me doing whatever I feel at the time. Any moment, any given thought that I have in my mind, I can make a video out of that. That's kind of the point. Um, and I kind of thought, well, maybe I'll talk about movies sometimes. Um, I've kind of talked about those on other YouTube channels in the past. But on here, I guess I can do that. I won't spoil anything because I know people want to go see movies. But recently I went to see Dune Part 2. Now, before I start saying anything about this movie, make sure that you watch the first one first. I think it's on Netflix right now. But I would definitely say you should watch the first part before you watch the second part. You shouldn't have to say that to people, but I have watched people literally say that they've only seen, they literally went to this. I seen one person at this movie theater as they were leaving. The guy said to the woman, "Now, are you going to watch the first part now?" Like, what? You're going to go see a second part to a movie and not know what happened in the first part? So the Dune movie, Dune Part 2, is just part of Part 1. Part 1 and 2 are just one book. It's just one story. So I kind of wish they didn't break it into two parts, but I know why they did it. Because they wanted to be able to take their time and tell the story properly instead of rushing through it because it has to be 2.5 hours at the max. So that's what they did. They broke into two pieces. Now, this movie is visually pretty amazing, especially in today's time frame, because you get a lot of these Marvel movies nowadays where the special effects are not even good. They're just kind of like thrown together. Everything's just hurried up. I honestly don't think that they care about movies anymore. I think that they're just making them just just to get whoever wants to give them money, just whatever. I don't think they care. I mean, they replace all the men in Marvel movies with females nowadays, and it's like Marvel is a boys' brand. So let's just be honest. You don't need to replace everybody with a female. Even some of those characters are female in the comic books, but it's like they only want to do the female characters now, and they don't want the men to be around. So whatever, it's like a feminist thing, I guess. So that being said, let's get back to Dune. Dune Part 2 takes place immediately leading after what happened in Dune Part 1. Dune Part 1, if you remember correctly, if you've seen it, it kind of cuts off. I'm not going to spoil anything, but it kind of cuts off because it goes right into this movie. Now, this movie, visually, like I said, is just amazing to see. Like, the special effects look like they're real. Like, you don't even know, you can't tell where the unreal aspect is and the real aspect is. It's so perfectly blended that you can't even tell the difference. Like if a spaceship is taking off, you just think, well, my God, they already built that. It looks real. Everything in this looks legit, like it was built, like somebody built these things. So it's pretty amazing. Now, Dune, I guess maybe people don't know what that is, but it's a science fiction story that takes place in the future, and it's more about humans than aliens and stuff. Now, there are aliens. There's giant worms on this planet in the desert, but there isn't really aliens, and they also are limited with technology. Like, they won't have AI and, like, robots because I don't know if you pay attention to the Dune lore, but if you know it enough, you'll know that there was a war in the past in some other books that's not this, and they basically got rid of robots and stuff. So humans actually have to do the work to like compute these things. So they have like machines. They obviously have machines, and they do interstellar travel. That they can travel from planet to planet and all this far away places pretty quickly. And that's what they use. They use the spice, and that comes from this planet Dune. That's where they mine it, and it's basically like the oil fields. Instead of the oil, it's actually the dust that's in the sand or whatever. So that's called the spice, and it's also a hallucinogen, and it also it's all these different things it can do anyway, and it gives kind of the people who live there long enough, their eyes will turn like blue, like they'll be like almost like all blue, their eyes. And that's why the character, if you see the poster, his eyes are blue because he's been living in this planet. Arrakis is the name of the planet, and they've been living there too long, so it's kind of like affected them, not mentally in a bad way, but so it's kind of about the rise of an emperor. That's kind of what this movie is about. Part 1 and part 2, I'm going to say it's all one movie because it's basically one story, and that's what this is about. So you get this young guy, Paul Atreides, and you get his story about how he progresses from being this young man to becoming like in charge of so much stuff and getting, learning to work with people and dealing with. I'm not trying to spoil this either, but how he deals with other people and the enemy that's kind of, and then the villains in this movie are villains, like the top of the line A-list villains. These guys are you hate them. Like, they are not good people in any shape or form. So this movie is definitely gonna, when you see the villains, it's actually really interesting to see how evil these people are. And you're just like, my God, these people they're basically Satanists. I mean, let's be honest. The way they act and dress and the black clothing that they wear, and they're bald and they like have no hair like at all anywhere. Like pale white. They're just very bad. The Harkonnen or whatever. Anyway. And this movie is just visually stunning no matter where you look, no matter what's happening. I mean, if you're just laying in the sand, it's still visually stunning to see this movie. So I just can't say enough to see this on a big screen in IMAX if possible, because this movie is just so beautiful to look at. And I realize someone's probably going to say, well, it's just desert. Yes, but when you look at this movie and you see how they filmed this is more than just desert. The way they filmed this thing, the widescreen, just the whole look, the breadth and the width of this whole thing, how they made it, is just amazing to see. And then the spaceships that they make and how everything moves, it feels very alien. It doesn't feel like Earth. It doesn't feel like humans' version of Earth. It feels like far out in future type everything. And then the way that everything, like even lasers in this movie are lasers, like literally one ray that's going to cut through something. It's not like boom, 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 like Star Wars. It's different. And just everything is so thought out so well in this movie that it's like this guy must have been planning to make this movie for years to get this thing to look this good. It's like he knew what he was going to do. So I got to hand it to the director of this movie. He really went out of his way. Now, the themes of Dune, because I know Christians might be watching this, and the first thing that they will say is, why would you watch that garbage? It's the Antichrist. Yes, it's like an Antichrist. It's kind of like how the rise of the Antichrist would come about in a way. But it's not the Antichrist. It's a movie, okay? And I know a lot of holier-than-thou people out there that just sit in their house and they must just not have a TV. I'm sure that they don't have a cell phone. I'm sure they don't have a computer, right? Because all that's made by worldly people that might be sinners, right? Companies that might be pushing agendas, right? I'm sure that they don't have that, so they'll never see this video, right? So I don't know how they can go online and communicate and complain about a person like me who is a Christian that went to see this movie, because I thought they were holier than thou. That means that they're just sitting in a room praying and meditating all day, reading their Bible, right? Because that's their attitude. So I'm just going to hit them real quickly with that and just say, listen, if you don't like the movie or you don't like my video, don't watch it. Because that's the people I always run into the most. It seems like the people that I deal with the worst in life is Christians that really go after Christians because nobody's holy enough for them. And I really don't like that. So I've kind of shied away from dealing with a lot of other Christians, because online you can't deal with Christians because they're holier than thou. They know everything. Everybody's perfect. Everybody has to be perfect. And if you say one thing that's off, you're blaspheming, you're Antichrist, you're a false teacher, you're whatever you are. Okay? I agree that we shouldn't have like mega churches full of health and wealth teachers that are just saying, oh, God's going to give you money and fame and riches. I agree with that. But if you're going to come after me just because I went to see a movie and flip out and have all this stuff and say everything is satanic, then turn your TV off, don't buy an iPhone because you might be helping slavery, and don't be doing anything at all. Don't help corporations, don't go to Walmart, don't shop anywhere because those corporations are pushing satanic agendas according to your own words. But I didn't want to waste this much time on that. I just know that they're out there, and as soon as I talk about Dune, they're going to be out there telling me about that too. So, but there's some cool elements in this movie, but the theme of the Dune series is kind of Muslim more. It's not really, it almost seems like the creator was thinking like he wanted to make the Catholic Church look bad, which I don't have a problem with because I'm not a Catholic. And he also was kind of aiming everything to be more Muslim, like they're looking for the Mahdi or whatever. It kind of feels more Muslim stuff. I mean, even the planet Arrakis, like Iraq, it's all kind of in that kind of Muslim kind of terrain, which whatever, I don't care. But it's a cool futuristic movie. It's very interesting, and it kind of shows the rise of how an emperor might come about, and how these different houses that are elite rich people that have basically try to rule over these Furman people. That's the main people that we're trying to help in this movie. Is the Furman are people that live in the desert, just kind of hiding out away from the empire and all these evil things. So it's kind of like the small people that actually are trying to rise up and take back the world and just kind of live in peace, you know. Whereas we have an empire and all these people that want to use their planet to mine the planet and drain it from everything that it has for greedy purposes. And these people just want to live there, you know. So that's kind of the theme of the whole Dune story. And I'm not going to spoil anything. My dog's walking, so if you hear tapping, that's his paws. But I didn't want to spoil anything, so I don't want to talk much more about it. I would just say go to see the movie if you've seen the first one. See the first one first, then see this one, because you have to kind of know what happens in the first one to understand what's happening in this one. I mean, they're all one story. It's just one book. Part 1 and Part 2 are one. Now, there's probably going to be a third movie, but I'm not going to get into that now. So I would say go to see this if you like that type of stuff. And I don't know if anyone that watches this vlog is even going to be into movies, so I don't know if this video will even be watched. But tell me what you think of the movie if you've seen it, if you didn't see it. Hopefully I didn't spoil anything, but I don't think I did. But tell me what you think in the comment section below, and like, share, and subscribe. And thank you for watching. Thank you for watching The Daily Rut. Please like, share, and subscribe if you enjoy this vlog.